We're Tapped In Media. It's Russ and Rojo here, with another guest, right?
Another
guest, man. We did it. Ooh, look at us, right? Before we get into it.
Yeah, we still haven't released our last guest.
No, you don't. We just talked about this. You don't have to bring it up. Before we get into our next guest, big shout out to our guy, man, Big Chunk, for spending some time with us on a Sunday morning.
That's right.
And chatting with us about.
Yeah, we really appreciate your time, man.
And about his success and how he's doing for his business. And we're really happy that he had a chance to hang out with us.
Yep.
Do us a favor, tap or click on over to YouTube at Tapped In Media. And we're a little hard to find at this point right now, but soon it'll be much easier because we're learning how to hijack the algorithm.
Yeah. Working on that algorithm.
We'll get there. The best way to support us on this show is by hitting the subscribe button or hitting the like button because that helps us out a lot. Also, give us a follow on IG at tappedin_media and TikTok.
We are officially on TikTok.
Look at us.
So that's tappedin_media.
That's on TikTok.
That's on TikTok.
We were banned on our last podcast,
but
we won't get into that. That's a whole nother set of problems that we had. But now we're moving on, man. That's pretty cool.
So I'm pretty excited now about this interview because, one, I mean, we've had some ugly people in our past interviews, so,
right?
And all guys.
Yeah.
So it's about time we freshen it up, liven it up, and now we have the founder, the person who I've been actually trying to have on for quite some time.
Yep.
Which is founder of Del Cid Coffee.
Yep.
None other than Herceny.
Herceny Del Cid. What's going on? Welcome to Tapped In Media with us two here.
Us two.
I mean, we really appreciate it. We also, real quick, we want to say thank you for sponsoring the show and taking care of us. And we'll get more about that later on.
Yeah.
And
as you can see.
as we've talked to all of our guests, and they were like, "Wow, these guys actually have somebody that sponsors them." But thanks for that. We really do appreciate it.
What is she doing? Like, what the mistakes is she doing? Why is she even?
I know. Why is she even messing with those clowns? but we want to get into it real quick because you came. You're an independent businesswoman, right? You came with your family to the U.S. at 5 years old, right? He didn't get a chance to say this because we took these notes and you worked at a couple popular media outlets, and we'll also get into that later on into the interview. And we want
big soccer fan,
and we want to talk
huge
about your
CONCACAF.
Yeah, your experience with that. Yeah, CONCACAF.
Wait, no, that was Copa de Oro that just happened.
Oh, Copa, but she was on. She did something. I think it was.
Yes, I did.
Yeah. Okay. So we did see that. Yeah, I remember we were doing that. We do these. We have these meetings with each other often. We're like, trying to get our notes together so we don't look.
Although
like
I feel like he rushes me.
Complete morons. I'm not rushing you. Dare you? So, but it's really good to have you here, and we support people that do have independent businesses as like yours. So, we have a bunch of questions lined up. So, thanks again for giving us your time.
Of course. Let's get into it. I'm excited. I'm really excited to be here. It's been so long since I've been on radio with you guys.
I know, right?
I feel like I just miss being around boys, man. It was always so much fun. I was always the only girl, so that was so cool.
That was the case, huh? A lot of times,
for the most part.
Yeah. I used to get picked on all the time, but also very protected, so that was cool.
Sorry.
So obviously, you come from a radio background, and
yes,
you were there for a good amount of years, and you were at iHeart, also formerly known as Clear Channel.
Clear Channel.
Right. You're that far back.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's how I remember her.
Yeah, no doubt.
So,
Channel.
I mean, how long were you at iHeart or Clear Channel?
I think it was like 8 years. 8 years, but then I started doing kind of my separate thing, and I called it HDC Sports, where I still had contact with you guys. I would still do things and projects on the side with you guys. So it was total like maybe 13 years with that.
13 years?
Yeah.
So you're always trying to find a way to be a businesswoman because you've stepped out and you did HDC Sports, and I know you did some camera work too for a while during that time.
I did.
What happened?
Even for iHeart, I did some interviews with a few soccer players. One of them is actually Kai Kamara, who now plays for LAFC. So that's like a historic interview that I haven't released yet. Actually, no one ever released it. Did we? I think maybe we did. I don't remember.
You better release that.
But I would go. Yeah, I would go to like LA Galaxy, and then I would interview other players that came along in Major League Soccer back when no sign of Messi or anything like what it is now.
Nice. And the Galaxy barely had any fans too.
Yeah.
And I'm a Galaxy fan before I'm an LAFC fan. I know all these bandwagoners are like jumping on that.
I actually was watching Cienfuegos, because when he came to the Galaxy, we were like, well, let's go watch him.
Yeah.
Salvadorian player. I mean, we gotta at least, support the guy.
Yeah, and at that time, I used to also do like locker room interviews. I don't even know if that's allowed anymore, but I would go into the locker rooms and interview the players while they're like, some of them are still changing, but they would like holler like girl in the room or something. I don't remember, but I don't know if that still happens.
Did a lot of those guys, did they hit on you?
No, I actually never got hit on by anyone.
That's pretty cool. I mean, that they were just respectful. Like they knew that you were here to do a job.
Maybe, because even now I don't get hit on, and then they're like, "Oh, we thought you were married," and I'm like, "How? There's
no way.
No ring." I stopped wearing rings because of that. I'm like, no. Yeah, but no, I don't know.
Maybe you should wear a wedding ring.
Yeah, I don't know.
And then they'll
hit on.
I mean,
that.
So weird these days.
Things
Big
work
one right here.
very weirdly nowadays. So you said you were in radio for 13 years. So when did you actually leave?
So I guess I don't even remember when I left. It just it wasn't like I'm leaving. It was like I got into other things and I just kind of evolved with it.
Okay.
Right.
And then I started working for sports marketing companies, and then I worked for USL team. So under Major League Soccer is USL.
Cool.
So I did director of marketing for Orange County Blues for a whole season while I was still kind of doing interviews and kind of still working with you guys and other things. People would just call me if I could go do an interview for Telemundo or something like that. It was just a side job. But I went to that, but then when my dad passed away, that's when I just could not do anything with sports anymore. It was just horrible.
That must have been really hard, right?
Impossible. Yeah, it was. I tried to get back into sports, and I just I couldn't.
Of course.
Really?
Oh,
well, yeah.
Well, yeah, because it's very emotional. Losing a parent is not easy whatsoever. I mean, it's up there with losing a child. It really is not. It's hard. I've lost my dad many years ago. And
I lost your dad.
It's just
remember
tough
we
to
talked
adjust
about
around
this
that.
when we were
Are we in the Dead Dads Club over here?
Yeah, we are.
The Dead Dads
Damn.
Club.
There's a thing.
DDC.
It is a thing. Unfortunately, shout out Dave Weiss. I bring him up quite a bit because we all worked with him often, and when his dad passed away, we kind of talked about that too, the Dead Dads Club, and he made this first joke like that, and I was like, dude. I felt for him right there, and I didn't know how to accept it at first, when he came off that way.
Yeah.
But I could tell that, okay, he's trying to settle in with it. But it is sad either way, and I'm glad you're still trying to find yourself to heal that. But we want to talk about your coffee and how your brand is doing pretty well. And
hey, there it is. There
it is. Right there. We have our bag right there. So thanks for that. And we do brew it often. But I saw on your profile, on some of your profiles, and I of course do all the research. Is you are a sixth generation coffee farmer, right? And I want to know who are the people before that, that got you into that, and then do you actually go out there and get the beans and go into the farm when you're down in Guatemala?
Yes.
Look at you. You said
yes.
that right.
Yes. And yes.
Cool.
So my parents were born coffee farmers. My grandparents, my great grandparents. I think it was when coffee started getting planted in Guatemala is when my family got into it.
Oh, nice.
So they were the landowners, I guess. So they were
made for promoting your own coffee brand and stuff.
Yeah, it's mine. So that's really funny because when I go to coffee shops and like coffee shop owners are like, "Oh, my coffee is," I'm like, "It's not your coffee. Shut up." Like,
you went up and
it's
be
your
like,
coffee.
I have an actual farm, dude. Like it's in a whole other country, but it's happening.
Yeah, so we've been going back. The coffee has been in my family for 6 generations, but my parents actually bought their farms from a family member. So even though it wasn't actually inherited, like it might sound like I'm 6 generations, so it's been passed down.
Right.
The actual act of coffee farming has been passed down, but my parents worked really hard here in this country to buy those farms from other family members. So we would go back, and every year we would stay all of December to harvest the coffee, and we learned all of that with my brothers, and we were just into it. And I would always go since I was a little kid. So to me, it was very, very normal. I had no idea that this was something so special and unique about me when I was growing up. Like I had no idea. And then like when I got a little older, I would ask my aunts to roast some coffee, and I would bring it and I would sell it here to people for like £1 for $10 or something like that. But I would just bring it in my luggage. And then people were like, "This is so good. This is so good." And then I started getting more curious about it. And I would tell my dad, like, "I want to do something with the coffee. Let's do something." But I just didn't know what. And then I started working in radio, and I went to college. So now I think about it, had I not done any of that, where would I be now with the coffee, right?
Yeah.
Did you ever?
But I did.
Did you ever see yourself being this entrepreneur / businesswoman, carrying on this, this coffee that goes way back 6 generations with your family?
I don't know if I think I always knew I wanted to do it. So maybe I did see myself. I just also saw myself doing other things. So the good thing is that I got that all out of the way.
Yeah.
Right.
Like I wanted to model. I modeled. I wanted to be in a beauty pageant. I was a beauty queen. I wanted to work in sports. I did. So a lot of things that I tell people now, like if you're going to start your business, it's 100%. You have to give 100%.
Commitment.
You can't have any doubt. So the good thing about starting when I did is that I did everything I wanted to do. So now I'm ready for this. So it was all perfect timing.
Yeah, because it's a trip. Because like as she was mentioning, she went from getting into radio, doing all the things like modeling and all that, which a lot of people would be like, why would you go away from that?
I know, because it sounds like this
something
fun
that
job,
you just don't know what the risk. What the risk to reward is.
Yeah, but she has all, having this other passion, like, for with coffee and her family, and like that incorporates everybody. And thinking about that now too, because when we were talking about it, when you say like, Guatemalan coffee, right? What city like would those farms be at? Like, I know like there's what specific regions do you get your coffee from?
So our coffee farms are located in a little village called El Rojo in the state of Santa Rosa, Guatemala. So it's a coastal state on the west coast. It's kind of like California. So I say like going to my farms is like going from the beach to Big Bear. It's like a 2-hour drive.
Oh, okay. Wow.
But it's very different weather, like here in Big Bear. Yeah, so it's my farm. So you could actually go on Google and check out my farm because I have it all pinned. It's called Finca del Cid, which finca means farm. Let me drink some water, guys. Sorry.
Go ahead, do your thing.
I couldn't help but notice
lemon water
at the website. Yeah, and those cities, a bunch of cities were coming up. That's why I had to ask, because it's like, well, where specifically? Because I see all these things popping up, but like whereabouts. But I'm glad you were a little more clear on on where that is, because I'd imagine it's kind of hard. Do you ever have any difficulty with the supply chain, like getting stuff into here? And
no, I knew I would have difficulties because, first of all, I'm a woman, right? Another thing that goes against me a lot is that I look very young, so a lot of people don't take me as serious. and I'm also have a young personality, I guess. So I kind of figured by going to these events, I first started going to like coffee expos to learn more. And then I would see people's reactions to me, especially when I would like put coffee farmer on my tag. They would ignore me. I would not be paid attention to. I would go to booths and they'll just be like, oh.
They probably didn't believe the fact that, okay, this young girl is a coffee farmer. Like,
yeah, and because I'm a coffee farmer, I'm at the bottom of the chain. Like, people want roasters, right? People want to sell things to roasters. People think roasters are at the top or the owners of the coffee, and the coffee farmers are like at the bottom. Right. So I would go to these events and I started realizing that I'm going to have a really hard time. So what am I going to do about it? So I was like, I got to be an expert in every single part of the coffee process.
Smart.
So sure. I went to the farms first. And I started learning from an organization called Ana Café in Guatemala that helps coffee farmers. So because I am a Guatemalan coffee farmer, so as my mom and my brothers, we qualify for that organization. So they came to my farms, assessed it, and then they started teaching me like, oh, your soil needs more nitrogen, your soil needs more calcium. And we started working with the soil, with the agronomist. And then I started learning more about the coffee plant and how it grows, how it needs to be pruned, how it needs to be picked, cared for, how much sunlight it needs. Like, oh, there's branches too big, cut it off. We don't cut the trees, we just do the branches. So then I learned that part. And then I learned the drying process of coffee. So for the coffee cherry, you could either remove the seed. I have a little seed here, actually. You could remove the seed with
cool.
With water.
Mm-hmm.
It is. So one thing, it's not a bean, it's a seed. So it's the seed of a coffee cherry. So then I went to the drying process, which you could do washed, which what my family is used to. So we used to just sell our cherries to a washing mill, and then we would make like pennies, right? So I was like, Mom, we're not making any money. Like, it doesn't make any sense that we had to immigrate and go through all this when like our whole family owns coffee farms. Like, you never hear that from vineyard owners, right?
Yeah, that's.
You never hear like,
already had like an establishment. Yeah. Over, a connection over in Guatemala.
And to the washing mill.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that process is they remove the seed and then they dry it for 4 days, but that water kept getting dumped into the rivers.
Right.
So my family can't go fishing, crabbing anymore because of the contamination. So then the other process is to sun dry the cherries. So I told my family, like, we need to sun dry. We got to speed the change because no one had ever done that, right, in my area. So I learned that process. Then I started learning about exporting. Then I learned about importing. Then I learned about roasting. Wow. Then I started the company.
There is a lot to that. So we're talking with Del Cid Coffee owner, Guatemalan coffee, right? Did I get that right?
What?
I said that right?
You can say Guatemalan.
Well, I'm just saying, like,
you can say Guatemalan.
You get all crazy, like, about my accent and how I fire things.
I always give him a hard time. That's why.
He does.
Because he's half and he's half.
I am. We're talking to Herceny Del Cid. Check out her Instagram. It's at Cafe Del Cid. That's DELCID. And she does a bunch of great stuff on her Instagram that kind of went through the process of what she's talking about. Walking through the farms, drying out the seeds, and doing the whole process of coffee. And, she does a lot of great posting up there. Who provides a lot of that content when you're going out there? Is it just all you putting it together and just doing your thing?
It's all me.
Wow.
Now I tell my mom, I trained her a little on how to do it.
Yeah, we did see that you have your mom out there, you had your brother out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I had to train them, but it's been me doing a lot of it.
And then I know you posted that you were hiring for people to try to come on board and do the farmers markets.
Yeah, I need help with the farmers market. So this immigrant is creating jobs.
Yeah, part-time. Look at us.
There we go.
We always joke around because we have about 3 or 4 jobs usually between,
it's kind of hard to survive in this
it really is
right
hard.
now.
So we do, we have a lot of jobs. So we always give each other a hard time. Like, well, how many jobs you got this month? Like, I only
You'll
got
be good
2
at
right
it.
now. Just
You know what the interesting part is that at the farmers market I gotta set up a table and a tent.
Oh, you just
No,
go
the
back to your,
logos.
It's like
you go back
going
to your
right
roots.
back to your roots.
There it is. It
So
never
it's
goes
like
away. It never goes away.
Everything that I'm doing with the coffee, I've learned through everything I've done in sports
and
marketing.
promotions. Yeah.
Yeah, so everything that you see me doing on
That's
our social
great.
media, like I learned that through this.
What's been the biggest obstacle for you? You know, being that you say you are doing it alone. What's been the biggest obstacle as far as marketing wise, getting it out there? I mean, I know you finally got your brand out in stores. So how has all that panned out for you so far?
Some stores. We're still at the very beginning stages. I do most of like the hard work on my own, but my brothers do help me. My mom does help me. Except they all have full-time jobs. So I'm the one that's dedicated 100% to the coffee. The biggest obstacle is that I didn't realize how hard it was going to be. Like everything is heavy. The big bags of coffee are heavy. Loading the car, unloading the car, setting up, going to roast the coffee. Everything weighs like 20 pounds. And I would do something every single day. So the first farmers market was in October of last year.
Okay, okay, real quick, I'm gonna interrupt you right there. For the farmers market, tell us which ones you're at, because we know that it's not just one that you're at. You're at quite a bit.
She's at multiple
ones. So give us a quick little rundown, and then, you know, because you're telling us all the work that you put into it, like setting up a promo tent, right? Similar.
Yeah.
Tell us where you're at, so other people that watch
and
know.
market yourself right now.
Right.
Yeah. So the first one I actually got into was Manhattan Beach Farmers Market. So getting into the farmers market was really difficult. They would say no. They would say we already have a coffee. There's a Starbucks in the court. Like I got rejected left and right.
Oh wow.
So that was really hard for me. But when I went to Manhattan Beach and I was like, listen. Just listen, because I think they were not listening to me. Mm-hmm. Like even now when I tell people I'm a coffee farmer, they're like, wait, what? But she listened, and I'm like, my family are the farmers. We should be at a farmer's market. It just makes sense.
For sure.
So she gave me the opportunity. She's like, okay, I'll give you a little 5x5. You can start. And because of that, I got into San Pedro Farmers Market. Because of that, I got into
That's cool.
I got into Melrose Trading Post.
Wow.
Because of that, Hermosa Beach Farmers Market contacted me.
So this is like a full-on, like pretty much full-time. You're just bouncing around, selling your product and setting up.
Yes.
And she's doing great networking all on her own.
Well, dude, I mean, what she basically Manhattan Beach was the liftoff, right?
Yeah.
Like that was the launch pad, and it just took off from there. Which is that's awesome that whoever gave you that opportunity, and they're giving you that opportunity nonetheless. Because
Cynthia.
Yeah, there you go. Shout out Cynthia,
Shout out to
right?
Cynthia.
Shout out Cynthia. Thanks for that, girl.
By the way, we need to interrupt you real quick.
Yeah, real
'cause,
quick.
You know, we got to pay the bills.
Yeah.
You can go ahead and go to delcidcoffee.com.
That's right.
Enter promo code tappedin_Mina. Get your $5 off.
That's right.
Right
yes,
here.
Right there.
you'll help all
Boom.
of us out.
Boom.
Definitely go and help support a woman-owned business.
That's right.
As we've always said. Independent entrepreneur.
All right.
And it's great coffee. Again, it really is good coffie.
And
I'm hoping I can have some of your other flavors pretty soon.
I only have one.
Oh,
This is it.
That's the one. That's the one that that's the one we get. Oh,
This
you
is
know
it.
what?
Because you have. Well, I'm saying like the medium, maybe the medium whole.
Maybe the
whole bean.
So the notes in the coffee are chocolate, cinnamon, and caramel. But that's from the soil.
Oh, gotcha.
So basically similar to a sommelier for wine, there's a quality grader for coffee. So they go and they taste the coffee and then they find the main notes.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the main notes in the coffee. So this isn't even regular coffee. This is specialty coffee. So it was graded by a quality grader, and if you score over 80, you're specialty coffee. So 0 to 100, over 80 makes you specialty coffee. Under 80 is like,
I'm learning.
I'm not even gonna say the names.
You can tell you're just super interested. You're locked in.
Yeah, because I didn't know that there was so much that went into coffee.
Yeah,
I mean, you go to
there's a lot to
Starbucks
it.
and you get your
Think
crappy
of it as
coffee or whatever.
wine. Think of wine.
Okay.
Oh,
Have you
okay,
ever been
yeah.
wine tasting?
Yeah.
You've been wine tasting?
I've never been
I've
to
never
wine tasting.
gone
You know that
wine
we've never
tasting.
done that. No.
We're
Oh,
too poor
well,
for that.
Yeah,
right
we're
now.
poor, and we go to a lot of beer, a lot of breweries.
Well, you do.
Same
I
as
guess.
beer. Same as beer. If
Craft
you
Oh yeah,
find
the
out,
hops. Okay, then you go like the hops and the barley and stuff like that. That makes sense. I guess.
yeah. So you
She's
find
like,
out.
She's like, these guys are idiots.
You need to stop drinking. I'm just kidding.
I don't drink. He does.
Cow.
Yeah, so it's similar to wine. So the better the quality, the better it's for your body. Just like wine, if you're gonna drink shitty wine, you're gonna get a headache, you're gonna get sick.
Oh yeah,
Shitty beer,
same thing.
shitty coffee, same thing. So you're
Yep.
going to these places getting this coffee. It's not good for you. It's probably has mold. It's probably dark roasted because it's full
Oh,
of all
man.
this horrible
When you say it like
stuff.
that.
So
When you say
the
it like
darker
that, the
the
mold-
roast, the most likely it's bad coffee. Because
Oh,
I'm
okay.
not gonna dark roast my coffee because I want you to taste it because it's really, really good. So I want you to taste the notes. If it was molded and bad, I'm gonna dark roast it.
Now I know better about the dark roast. I'm like, oh, sketch, man. I'm not sure about that dark roast there. But you know what? Real quick, I'm gonna go back a little bit because working in the
Yeah.
booths with going all to these farmers markets and stuff like that. You're with your family. How important is it to them now? Because now you guys got this brand and you've built this product up, right? And you guys are seeing a little bit of success. And now I see in the booths you have your mom and your brothers, or is it somebody that just went? So now it's like it's a family affair. Everybody's working at it, right?
Yeah, my brother comes, my cousins help. Diego, he's been the one that's been helping me the most. Super thankful for him because I did make myself sick. I ended up making myself sick. I was working too much and I was super
only
focused. And I just.
But what do a lot of successful people say? It's like you got to put in the time, the effort,
Yeah.
the hours, the
Oh,
long
yeah.
hours, sick, not sick.
Yeah,
whatever it may be, you got to put in that grind.
Exactly.
So
I mean,
and you're
it's the
doing it.
truth. I
You're
think it's
doing
really
it.
cool that you've incorporated your family like that.
You were recently in
Yeah.
Miami.
Yeah,
What's up with
I
that?
was. So I went to meet with CONCACAF.
Wow.
Oh,
Okay.
so that was
So-
what we were talking about earlier too before we started the interview. That you're
Yeah,
on-
so I was picked last year for the Gold Cup. They were doing stories for every country that was playing in the Gold Cup. And then I was recommended by a friend, by John, and then I went through the interview process to see if I would represent Guatemala. And they really liked the coffee story. So
very smart.
Well, your story
Yeah.
in general is actually pretty awesome. I mean, 5
Thank
years
you.
old, you and your parents, as you were telling me, because we've had conversations back and forth on our DMs, where you were 5 years old and it took you 15 days with your parents to cross over. This is a
Yeah.
5-year-old child.
Tell us real quick. I know, right? Tell us real quick about that experience because I think that's important to your story and your brand.
Yeah, so my parents decided to come to the US. They had me and my two brothers, my brother and a sister, and another brother. And they had a bakery business and the coffee, and they just didn't think it was enough for us. So they decided to immigrate here. But I was very smart and I knew something was happening. So they couldn't leave me. I would like cry. And my other siblings stayed with my grandparents and on my mom's side. And my grandma just said, just take her because she'll either die on the way or die with me. And I don't want that responsibility. And I'm like, my mom would tell me the story as a kid. And I'm like, you used to tell me I was either going to die there or with you. Anyway, so I left with them. It was more like an adventure for me. I remember getting sick.
5 years
I
old.
remember getting
I
in
know.
on the mountain somewhere.
Yeah.
Most kids,
I
are
remember
going
getting
to kindergarten with their big old backpack and getting new
She's over here
sticks and-
pretending to be Dora the Explorer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was the
That's
original
cool.
Dora the Explorer.
Seriously.
Yeah, so we would get in like the trunks of cars. My parents had to learn how to speak Mexican. We learned, I know that's weird, right? The Mexican accent. We had
It's
to
different,
learn
yeah. That is not weird at all. I totally know what you mean. I could barely, I could barely do
No,
it at
wait,
all.
Hold on. Here's how you know. Say LA.
LA.
Dang it. She doesn't have that. No.
Well, she's been here since she was 5.
No, but there's
Yeah.
some people that were born here.
Okay,
They say
yeah,
LA.
but now, LA.
LA.
That
LA.
is
Oh,
that
no,
is pretty
no, I
funny
don't
because
have
you're
that
right about that.
accent.
Yeah.
No, I don't have
So
that
I ditched
accent.
that. So
Yeah.
real quick.
So it's
Hers,
15 days.
I got 15 days, right? I know that you started this business, right, with family. You're doing all the farmers markets and stuff like that. I want to know real quick. I mean, is a brick and mortar? Is that something in the future? And in what location would you do it here in LA if you opened your own coffee shops? Like, where would you want to start and get your footprint going for your brick and mortar?
It's definitely something that we talk about. The difference for us is that we actually manage the supply chain in the farm. So when you go to a coffee shop, they just buy the green coffee and they roast it and sell it, or we have to deal with everything else. So we already dealing with that. So that's already a lot. So a lot of people, I have to say that to them because so anyone can you guys could open a coffee shop and start buying coffee from an importer and sell it. Super easy, but we're doing the whole thing. But eventually when we do have a brick and mortar, I love the South Bay. I love here where I grew up. So this would be
cool.
like the perfect location for me, especially because the city of Hawthorne actually really recognizes us. They really love us. So I love the city of Hawthorne. They really like support us. And if there's like a community event, they like call us, or you guys want to come promote your coffee, sell your coffee. So just like we've been getting so much love from the South Bay, where like Hawthorne. Oh, our farmers market in Inglewood. I forgot to mention that one.
That is
From Inglewood.
I'm from Inglewood.
And then you're from
so-
Inglewood. Yeah, you're from Inglewood.
Yeah, I grew up there. So when we got accepted into that one, I was super excited too.
That is very cool.
Yeah.
Herceny, before we wrap it up, can you tell everybody where they can go and find your coffee? And also any final thought, message and advice you recommend to those who are trying to or thinking of, starting up their own business, whether it's coffee
Like
or
yourself.
whatever it may be.
Yeah, if you have an idea, go for it. My only advice is to really give it 100%. Don't half-ass it. Really, really go for it, and you will do it. It will happen. It'll be hard, but it's gonna happen.
Did you get that message clear?
I got the message clear, but don't give me that look like if I'm not trying to do that. Dude, I'm trying.
You can do it. It'll take time, but you could take little steps here and there until you get to 100. And once you're there, it's gonna be really hard, but I promise it'll pay off.
That's awesome. We talked to Big Chunk. Sorry to interrupt you on that right there. We talked to Big Chunk in our last interview, and he brought up that I guess there's something coming up called coffee and vinyl.
Yeah.
So we are, us with our, we got an idea. Send us there, live. We'll do a live podcast there, and then we'll record it and stuff like that. And I think he's going to DJ it. And it's his buddies. It's going to be somewhere in LA. And then we also brought you up to we know somebody that,
Actually, he brought her up.
Yeah, down Cid Coffee. We could have them there at this thing called, it's a vinyl and coffee shop. And then that relates into the whole DJ thing. But, we're thinking about that too.
So that's a good plug. I mean, hopefully that can.
I would love that.
For all,
that'd be cool.
For both of us,
Yeah.
Get our exposure, continue to.
And see
market
everyone in
her.
real life.
No doubt. I know that would be pretty cool. Real quick, so we're talking with
Wait, she hasn't told us where we can go find her coffee.
Oh yeah, you haven't told us. Go.
Yeah, so you could go to delcidcoffee.com and order there. You will order your 12-ounce bag. It's really, really good. I don't roast it till you order it, so it'll be really, really fresh. So go to delcidcoffee.com.
And use
you could
promo
also
code
visit us
tapped-in
at
_media.
Oh, yes.
That's
to
right.
Get your $5 off.
That's right.
Say it again.
Tapped
Use
in
promo code
_ media.
Get your
Get your
$5
$5 off.
That's right.
Get your $5 off because you deserve to drink good coffee.
Good coffee.
Stop drinking that bad
Great
coffee.
coffee.
We love that. A couple of takeaways though for sure is that work hard on it and stay on it, and we like your independence, especially as a woman, an independent woman business, which got us going about it first when we started to see a lot of that. So
Latina woman.
a Latina, that's
Oh,
right, which
and
is
an
even
immigrant.
bigger. An immigrant.
And I have to, and you know
Yeah.
what? I'm not
Domingo.
taking the jobs. I'm making jobs.
That's right.
So,
You're checking
get
all
it
the
right.
boxes here. Checking all the boxes. Check out Herceny at Del Cid Coffee on Instagram, right? Also hit us up at tappedin_media on Instagram. And, we're
And
gonna,
you can also check her out at Herceny on Instagram.
oh yeah,
Oh,
she
yeah.
has her own personal one, and that's
I
pretty
do.
cool too. Give her a follow over there. Also go to our YouTube channel. We will have everything posted on there. Tapped In Media at Tapped In Media on YouTube, and we're gonna build us some shorts. We know that we've been kind of failing
build
that
a
little
short,
department right there. But Hurst, we want to thank you, man, for coming
You know
on
what?
the show
I
and
have
hanging
one
out with
more
us.
piece of advice.
Sure.
Go for it.
Even though you're giving 100%, don't forget about yourself. Because I forgot about myself. So always remember your health. Make sure you give yourself self-love, some self-love talks. Eat well, sleep, get rest. Give 100 to your business and 100 to yourself always.
Great advice. Next time,
Good advice.
thanks Chantal for your time, Hurst. We
Mental
really
health
appreciate
matters.
it.
Of course.
All right. Hit us up
Thank
next time,
you.
man, on YouTube at Tapped In Media. Click like, subscribe. Go buy some coffee. Del Cid Coffee from Herceny.
Yay, thank you.
Thanks.
Adios.
Thank you so much.